My phone rang at 2:30 in the afternoon. I knew before I answered. Knew it in my bones. That particular ringtone, the one I'd assigned to my son years ago, used to make me smile. Used to make me drop whatever I was doing to hear his voice. Now it just makes my stomach tighten. Because I always know, he's not calling to say hello. Not calling to see how I'm doing. Not calling because he misses me or wants to share something from his life. He's calling because he needs money. If you are listening, please drop a like and a subscribe. Thanks. My name is Walter Briggs. I'm 68 years old. I have one son. His name is Marcus. He's 34. And I can count on one hand the number of times he's called me in the last 10 years for any reason other than money. 5 times. 5 calls in 10 years that weren't preceded by, "Dad, I need something," or "Dad, can you," or "Dad, I'm in a situation." 5 calls where he actually wanted to talk to me. To his father. To the man who raised him and loved him and would have done anything for him. The rest? All transactions. All asks. All variations of the same script we've been performing for over a decade. I answered the phone. Of course I answered. I always answer. "Hey, Dad. Marcus, how are you?" A pause. He's calculating. Deciding how much small talk is required before he can get to the point. Good. Busy. You know how it is. I don't, actually. I don't know how it is. Because he never tells me. But I played along. That's good. Work going well? Yeah, Listen, Dad, I'm actually calling because I'm in a bit of a bind. And there it was. 12 seconds. That's how long it took him to get to the real reason for the call. 12 seconds of pretending he cared how I was, before asking for what he really wanted. It wasn't always like this. I need you to understand that. Marcus wasn't always a transaction. He was my boy, my son, the kid who used to run to me when I came home from work, who'd show me his drawings and tell me about his day, and beg me to play catch in the backyard. He was the kid who held my hand at the movies, even when he was too old for it, who built model airplanes with me on Saturday mornings, who asked a million questions about everything and actually listened to my answers. We were close, really close. The kind of close everyone said would never survive the teenage years. But it did survive. He didn't become one of those sullen teenagers who couldn't stand his parents. We still talked, still connected, still had our rituals. Even into his early 20s, we were good. He'd call from college. Not every day, but regularly. Real calls, real conversations. "Dad, you won't believe what happened in my philosophy class today. Dad, I'm thinking about switching majors. Can we talk about it? Dad, there's this girl I met. Real stuff. The stuff of a real relationship. The stuff that made me think, we did it right. My son and I have something that will last. I was wrong. The change started when he was 25. He'd graduated college, moved to the city, got a job in marketing. Entry level. Not great pay, but it was something. A start. He called one Sunday. Dad, hey. So I'm looking at apartments, and the security deposit is more than I expected. Could you help me out? I'll pay you back once I get my first paycheck. Of course I helped. Of course I sent the money. He was my son. He was starting his adult life. He needed help. That's what fathers do. 2 weeks later. Another call. Dad, the apartment didn't work out. Long story. But I found a better place. Thing is, I already spent the deposit money on furniture. Could you front me for this one? I promise I'll pay you back. I sent the money. Felt a small twinge of something. Not suspicion, exactly. Just awareness. This was the second ask in 2 weeks. But I dismissed it. He was adjusting, finding his footing. Young people struggle financially. It's normal. He'd pay me back. He'd said he would. He never did. The asks became more frequent. Dad, my car broke down. Need 1,200 for repairs. Dad, I got hit with an unexpected tax bill. Can you cover it? Dad, I lost my job, just temporarily. Can you help with rent until I find something? Dad, I found a job but won't get paid for 2 weeks. Can you tide me over? Dad, medical bill. Dad, parking tickets. Dad, credit card debt. Always an emergency. Always temporary. Always accompanied by assurances that he'd pay me back. That this was the last time. But he just needed to get over this one hurdle and then he'd be fine. I believed him. God help me. I believed him every single time. Because I wanted to. Because he was my son. Because turning him down felt like abandoning him. Like failing as a father. So I sent the money. Thousands of dollars over the years. Tens of thousands, probably. If I added it all up, which I've never done, because I'm afraid to know the total. Afraid to see in black and white how much I've given to someone who never once paid me back. Not $1, not ever. My wife Ellen noticed before I did. We'd been married 39 years. She knew me, knew our son, and she saw the pattern I was refusing to see. Walter, he only calls when he needs money. That's not true. He called last month just to say hi. Did he? Or did that call end with him asking for something? I thought back. He'd called. We'd talked for maybe 5 minutes. And then, Dad, since I have you, I'm actually in a bit of a situation. It ended with an ask, I admitted. Ellen sighed, not angry, just sad. He's using you. He's struggling. Young people have it harder now than we did. Some young people do, but Marcus has had a good job for 3 years now. Why is he still calling you for money every month? He's had some bad luck. Medical bills, car trouble, these things happen. Walter, she took my hand. Stop making excuses for him. He's 31 years old. He should be able to handle his own finances by now. And if he can't, he should be honest about why. Not feeding you a constant stream of emergencies. I pulled my hand away, got defensive, because admitting Ellen was right meant admitting something I didn't want to face. That my son didn't call me because he loved me. He called because I was an ATM, a reliable source of cash, a father who'd never learned to say no. You don't understand, I said. He's my son. I can't just abandon him when he needs help. I'm not asking you to abandon him. I'm asking you to see what's actually happening, to stop pretending these are isolated emergencies and recognize the pattern. But I didn't want to recognize the pattern, because recognizing it meant dealing with it, and dealing with it meant potentially losing my son. So I kept sending money, kept believing the excuses, kept pretending everything was fine. Last year, something shifted. Marcus called. Same ringtone, same stomach tightening. Dad, I need $5,000. Not, hey Dad, how are you? Not even the pretense of small talk anymore. Just straight to the ask. 5,000? Marcus, that's a lot of money. What's going on? I got into some debt, made some bad investments. If I don't pay it off, there are going to be consequences. What kind of consequences? Does it matter? I'm telling you I need help. Are you going to help me or not? The tone caught me off guard. There was no pleading, no embarrassment, no gratitude, just expectation, entitlement. Like I owed him this money. Like it was my obligation to bail him out of whatever situation he'd created. Marcus, I've given you a lot of money over the years, and you've never paid any of it back. You've never even acknowledged. So this is about keeping score? Really? That's the kind of father you are? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'd like to understand what's actually going on. I'd like to feel like you see me as more than just a source of money. Oh my God, you're really going to make this difficult? Something in me hardened. For the first time in years, maybe ever, I felt anger instead of guilt. Yes, I'm going to make this difficult, because I'm tired of these calls. I'm tired of emergency after emergency that never get explained. I'm tired of promises to pay me back that never materialize. I'm tired of being your ATM. Silence on the other end. Then, wow, okay, good to know where I stand with you. Marcus. But he'd already hung up. He didn't call for 3 months after that. 3 months of silence. No calls, no texts, nothing. And you know what? Part of me was relieved. Part of me was glad to not feel that stomach-tightening anxiety every time my phone rang. But part of me was devastated, because the silence confirmed what I'd been afraid to admit. If I wasn't sending money, I had no relationship with my son. Ellen tried to comfort me. Maybe this is good. Maybe he needs to learn to stand on his own. Maybe the distance will help him grow up. Or maybe I just lost my son. You didn't lose him, Walter. He lost himself. And you can't fix that for him. You've been trying for 10 years and it hasn't worked. She was right. Deep down, I knew she was right. But knowing didn't make it hurt less. I'd failed as a father. Somehow, despite my best efforts, despite all the love and support and money, I'd raised a man who only valued me for what I could give him, and I didn't know how to fix that. Month 4, he called. I saw his name on my phone, felt that familiar tightening in my stomach, considered not answering, but I answered. Because he was my son, because 3 months of silence had been torture, because I missed him even though I knew what was coming. Hey, Dad. Marcus. A pause. Longer than usual, like he was working up to something. I wanted to apologize for how I talked to you last time. That wasn't cool. Relief flooded through me. An apology. A real one. Maybe he'd been reflecting. Maybe the distance had helped him realize what he was doing. Maybe we could finally have a real conversation about our relationship. I appreciate that, son. I didn't mean to. The thing is, I'm in another situation. Bigger this time. And I really, really need your help. And just like that, the relief evaporated. The apology wasn't real. It was just another tactic, another way to soften me up before the ask. How much? 10,000. $10,000. The number was so absurd I almost laughed. I don't have $10,000 to give you, Marcus. Yes, you do. You and Mom have savings. You're retired. You're not spending it on anything. That's our retirement money. That's what we live on. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. If I don't pay this, I'm going to lose everything. My apartment, my car, everything. And maybe it's time to declare bankruptcy, to get real help, to stop putting band-aids on whatever the actual problem is. The actual problem is that my father won't help me when I need it most. We went back and forth for 20 minutes, him making his case, me holding firm, him getting increasingly desperate and angry, me trying to maintain boundaries while feeling like the worst father in the world. Finally, I said, Marcus, I love you, but I can't keep doing this. I can't keep being your emergency fund. You need professional help, financial counseling, maybe therapy, something. Because this pattern isn't sustainable. You know what? Forget it. Forget I asked. I'll figure it out myself. Please don't hang up, let's talk about. But he was already gone. I sat there with the phone in my hand, staring at the screen, feeling like I'd just failed the most important test of my life. Ellen came into the room, saw my face. He called. Yeah, for money. 10,000 this time. She sat down next to me, put her hand on my shoulder. What did you say? I said no. Good. It doesn't feel good. It feels like I just abandoned my son when he needed me. He doesn't need money, Walter. He needs to grow up. And you've been preventing that by always catching him when he falls. Maybe she was right. Maybe I'd been enabling him all these years. Maybe my inability to say no had created this monster who saw me as nothing but a resource to extract from. But it didn't feel like I was helping him grow. It felt like I was losing him. and I didn't know if I'd ever get him back. 6 months passed. 6 months of silence. 6 months of wondering if he was okay, if he'd lost his apartment, if he was living on the street somewhere, because his stubborn father refused to help him. 6 months of second-guessing myself, of lying awake at night thinking, maybe I should have just sent the money. Maybe that's what fathers do. Maybe love means sacrifice, even when it's being taken advantage of. Ellen was firm. You did the right thing. He needs to learn. And if you keep rescuing him, he never will. But she didn't know if he was okay either, and that terrified both of us. Then, one Saturday morning, my phone rang. Same ringtone, same stomach tightening, but this time also hope. Desperate, pathetic hope that maybe this call would be different. Maybe 6 months had changed something. Maybe he'd learned. Maybe he'd grown. Hey, Dad. Marcus, are you okay? I've been worried about you. I'm fine. I figured it out. Got a loan from a friend. Consolidated some debts. I'm managing. Relief flooded through me again. He was okay. He'd survive without my money. Maybe Ellen was right. Maybe he'd needed to do this on his own. That's great, son. I'm really proud of you for... Listen, I'm actually calling because I need to borrow your truck next weekend. Mine's too small for what I need to move. And there it was. Not money this time, but still an ask. Still a transaction. He hadn't called to tell me he was okay. Hadn't called to relieve my worry. Hadn't called because he missed me or wanted to reconnect after 6 months of silence. He called because he needed something. My truck this time, instead of my money. But the pattern was the same. I was still just a resource. Still just someone to use when convenient. Sure, I heard myself say. You can borrow the truck. Great, I'll pick it up Friday night. Do you want to stay for dinner? Your mom would love to see you. A pause. I could practically hear him calculating. Was the hassle of dinner worth the truck? Yeah, okay, I can do that. We'll see you around 6. Sounds good. He hung up. No, I love you. No, thanks for understanding about the money situation. No, sorry I haven't called in 6 months. Just a transaction completed. A resource secured. A father manipulated into giving what was asked. Ellen came into the room, saw my face. What did he want? The truck. He needs to move something. And you said yes? He's my son. I know. But Walter, when are you going to stop letting him treat you this way? He's coming for dinner Friday. Maybe we can talk. Really talk. Maybe this is an opportunity to reconnect. Ellen looked at me with such sadness. He's not coming for dinner. He's coming for the truck. The dinner is just the price he's willing to pay to get it. You don't know that. 7:30. A text came through. Sorry, got hung up with something. Still cool if I grab the truck? We'll be there in 20. That was it. No apology for missing dinner. No acknowledgement that we'd been waiting. No explanation of what was more important than seeing his mother for the first time in 6 months. Just, can I still get what I came for? I stared at that text for a long time. Ellen looked over my shoulder. Read it. Walter. I know. You're still going to give him the truck? I know. Why? Why? That was the question, wasn't it? Why did I keep doing this? Why did I keep letting him treat me like an ATM or a rental company or anything other than his father? Because if I don't, I'll never see him again. And I'd rather have this, whatever this is, than nothing. Ellen's eyes filled with tears. Oh, honey, you already have nothing. Marcus showed up at 8. Didn't come to the door. Just pulled into the driveway and texted, I'm here. I went outside. Handed him the keys. He was on his phone. Barely looked at me. Thanks, Dad. I'll have it back by Sunday. Marcus, can we talk for a minute? About what? About us. About how things have been. About... He sighed. Annoyed, like I was inconveniencing him. Dad, I don't really have time for a deep conversation right now. I've got people waiting. Can we do this another time? When? When is another time? I haven't seen you in 6 months. I've been busy, you know how it is. No, I don't know how it is, because you never tell me. You never call unless you need something. You never. Here we go. The guilt trip. I knew this was coming. It's not a guilt trip. It's the truth. I love you, Marcus. You're my son. But I feel like all I am to you is a resource. Someone you call when you need something. He finally looked at me. Really looked at me. And what I saw in his eyes broke my heart. Irritation, impatience, no guilt, no shame, no recognition that what I was saying mattered. Dad, if you didn't want to lend me the truck, you should have just said so. This isn't about the truck. This is about our relationship, about the fact that you only contact me when you want something. What do you want from me? You want me to pretend we're best friends? Have long heart-to-hearts? I'm an adult. I have my own life. I know you're an adult. I just want to feel like I'm part of your life. Like you see me as more than just... As more than what? A dad? That's what you are. That's your job. To help when I need help. And there it was, said out loud, the truth I'd been avoiding. To Marcus, I wasn't a person. I was a role, a job description. Father, someone who provides when needed. Someone who asks no questions. Someone who exists to serve. That's not what being a father means, I said quietly. Whatever, Dad. Look, I've got to go. I'll have the truck back Sunday. He got in the truck, started the engine, drove away, didn't look back. I stood in the driveway for a long time after he left. Ellen came out, put her arm around me. I'm sorry. For what? That your son turned out this way. That despite everything you did, everything you gave, he became someone who uses people. I don't understand. I loved him. We were so close. How did this happen? I don't know, honey. Sometimes people just become who they become. And it's not your fault, but it felt like my fault. Felt like I'd failed somehow. Made wrong choices. Been too soft or too hard or too something. Raised a boy who grew into a man who only saw me as a means to an end. He doesn't love me, I said. Not really. He loves what I can do for him. But me? The person? I don't think he even knows me anymore. Ellen squeezed my shoulder. I know. I've known for a while. I'm sorry you had to realize it this way. We stood there together, in the driveway of the house where we'd raised Marcus, where he'd learned to ride a bike and played basketball and grew from a boy into a man. And I wondered, where did it go wrong? At what point did unconditional love become conditional resources? When did my son stop seeing me as his father and start seeing me as an ATM? I didn't have answers. Just this crushing weight of realization. My son didn't love me the way I loved him. Maybe he never did. Or maybe he had once, and somewhere along the way, Sunday came. No truck. Monday. Tuesday. Wednesday. I called Marcus. Straight to voicemail. I texted. No response. Thursday. I called from Ellen's phone. He answered immediately. Hello? Marcus, it's Dad. I've been trying to reach you. A pause. Oh, hey, what's up? Where's my truck? You said you'd have it back Sunday. Yeah. Sorry. Something came up. I still need it for a few more days. A few more days? Marcus, I need my truck. I have things I need to do. Can't you use Mom's car? That's not the point. You said Sunday. It's Thursday. Look, I'm doing you a favor by not making you drive all the way out here to pick it up. I'll bring it back when I'm done with it. A favor? Marcus, it's my truck. You borrowed it. I'm not the one doing the favor here. Whatever, Dad. I've got to go. Marcus? But he was gone again. And I was left standing there, furious and helpless, and wondering when my son had become someone I didn't recognize. Someone who took and never gave back, who made promises he didn't keep, who treated his father like an inconvenience at best and a resource at worst. Friday morning, I drove Ellen's car to Marcus's apartment. 45 minutes each way, through traffic, in a car that wasn't mine, to collect a truck that should have been returned 5 days ago. I found it parked on the street, dirty, driver's side mirror hanging loose, back bumper dented. My hands shook as I inspected the damage, not from anger, from something deeper, from the final crumbling of whatever illusion I'd been holding on to. I went up to his apartment, 3rd floor, knocked on the door, no answer. I knocked again, heard movement inside, heard him say something to someone, heard laughter. He was home, just not answering. I knocked harder. Marcus, I know you're in there. Open the door. More silence. Then finally, the door opened. Marcus stood there, annoyed.
Dad, what are you doing here?
Getting my truck. That you were supposed to return 5 days ago. I told you I'd bring it back when I was ready. And I'm telling you I need it now. What happened to the mirror? And the bumper? He glanced past me at the truck, shrugged. I don't know. Must have happened when I was parked. You damaged my truck and you don't even care? It's just a truck, Dad. Calm down. Just a truck. Like it was nothing. Like the damage didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. This isn't about the truck, Marcus. This is about respect. About keeping your word. About treating people, treating me, like I'm more than just a resource you can use and discard. Oh my God. Are you really doing this right now? Yes, I'm doing this. Because I'm tired of being treated like this. I'm tired of you only calling when you need something. I'm tired of broken promises and excuses and being taken advantage of. A girl appeared behind Marcus. Pretty, young, confused about what was happening. Marcus glanced back at her, then at me. And I saw him make a choice. Saw him decide that I was embarrassing him. That I was the problem. You need to leave. Marcus, I said leave. Take your truck. And maybe next time I need something, I won't bother asking. Maybe that would be better, for both of us. The words came out before I could stop them. But once they were out there, I didn't want to take them back. Because they were true. Maybe it would be better. Maybe this toxic cycle needed to end. Even if ending it meant losing my son completely. Marcus stared at me, waiting for me to apologize, to take it back. To be the father who always caved, always gave in, always chose him over my own dignity. But I didn't. I just looked at him. This stranger wearing my son's face. This person I didn't recognize and didn't particularly like. That was 8 months ago. 8 months of silence. Real silence this time. Not the temporary kind that ends with a call asking for something. Permanent silence. The kind that comes when both people finally give up. Ellen says I did the right thing, that I needed to set boundaries, that Marcus needed to face consequences. But it doesn't feel right. It feels like loss, like failure, like everything I built, everything I thought we had was just an illusion. I think about him sometimes. Wonder if he's okay. Wonder if he ever thinks about me. Wonder if he misses me at all. Or if I was always just a utility to him. Something to use when needed and forget about otherwise. I think about the boy he used to be. The one who held my hand at the movies. Who asked me questions and listened to my answers. Who called from college to share his life. I don't know where that boy went. Don't know when he turned into someone who only saw me as an ATM. Maybe it was always there. Maybe I just didn't want to see it. Maybe I was so desperate to believe in our relationship that I ignored every sign that it was one-sided. My phone rang yesterday, different ringtone, unknown number, but something made me answer. Mr. Brennan, this is County Hospital. Your son Marcus was brought in earlier today. He's stable, but he's asking for you. My heart stopped, then raced, every instinct screaming at me to get in the car, to go to him, to be the father who shows up no matter what. But another part of me, the part that's been healing slowly over these 8 months, hesitated. What happened? He was in a car accident. Broke his leg, some cuts and bruises. He'll be fine, but he specifically asked us to call you. Of course he did, because he was in trouble, because he needed something. Someone to sit with him, someone to drive him home, someone to help with medical bills.
He called for me because he needed me. Not because he loved me. Not because he missed me. Not because 8 months of silence had made him realize what he'd lost, but because he needed me. And for the first time in my life, I had to decide. Was that enough? I went to the hospital. Of course I went. He's my son. Whatever else has happened, whatever our relationship has become, he's still my son. Ellen came with me. We drove in silence, both of us thinking the same thing. Here we go again. We found his room, 3rd floor. He was lying in bed, leg in a cast, bruises on his face. He looked young, vulnerable, like the boy I remembered. Dad, hey son, how are you feeling? Been better. He tried to smile, winced. Thanks for coming. I pulled up a chair, sat down. Ellen stood by the door. What happened? I wasn't paying attention. Ran a red light. Other driver T-boned me. Totaled my car. You're lucky you're alive. Yeah, I know. We sat in silence for a moment. Uncomfortable. Heavy. 8 months of unspoken things hanging between us. Finally, Marcus said, I'm sorry. About the truck. About everything. I've been thinking about what you said. About how I've been treating you. And you were right. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. But I'd heard apologies before. Heard promises to change. Heard all the right words, followed by all the same behaviors. Are you sorry? Or do you just need something? He looked hurt. I'm in the hospital, Dad. I almost died. Can't you give me the benefit of the doubt? I want to, but you've burned through my benefit of the doubt multiple times over, so forgive me if I'm skeptical. I mean it this time. I've been doing a lot of thinking. About my life, about how I've been living, about the people I've hurt. That's good, Marcus. I'm glad you're reflecting. But Ellen spoke up from the doorway. What your father is saying is that we love you, but we can't keep being the people you turn to only when you need something. If you want a real relationship with us, that has to change. Marcus nodded. I understand, and I want that. I want to be better, to do better. Then prove it, I said. Not with words, with actions, with time, with consistent effort. I will. I promise. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to think that this near-death experience had changed something fundamental. That my son had finally seen the light. But I'd learned, through years of painful experience, I'd learned not to trust promises, only actions. Okay, I said. We'll see. That was 3 weeks ago. Marcus has called twice since getting out of the hospital. Both times to update me on his recovery. Both times without asking for anything. Short calls, surface-level stuff, but something. Yesterday, he called and said, I know I owe you money. A lot of money. I'm working on a payment plan. It won't be all at once, but I want to start paying you back. I was so surprised I didn't know what to say. You don't have to. I do. I owe you, not just the money, but the respect, the acknowledgement, all of it. It's a start. Maybe. Or maybe it's just another performance. Another way to get back into my good graces before the next ask. I don't know yet. Can't know. Time will tell. But I'm being careful. Guarding my heart. Not letting hope run wild the way it used to. Because I've learned. Painfully, slowly, but I've learned. Love shouldn't be conditional. Shouldn't depend on what someone can give you. Shouldn't exist only in moments of need. Real love is constant, present, reciprocal. And until Marcus can show me that kind of love, consistently, over time, through actions not words, I have to protect myself. I have to remember that being a father doesn't mean being a doormat. Doesn't mean accepting whatever scraps of attention my son is willing to give me. I deserve more, and so does he.
He deserves to be someone better than the person he's become. Whether he'll actually become that person remains to be seen.